Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Bedford Township for December 1st, 2020. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Goldsmith, could you please open us up in prayer?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Father in heaven, as we pause tonight, we just want to thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed on each and every one of us and on our community. Father God, tonight I would pray for wisdom and discernment for each of the board members as they work through the business of Bedford Township. We'd also like to pause and thank all of our first responders, our military personnel, for the many sacrifices they make for us each and every day. We just don't want to forget about them or those sacrifices made for us and for our freedom that we enjoy. We pray all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Item number 2 is approval of the agenda. I'd like to add to the agenda item 8K, discussion of keeping the Suburban.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is supported by Mr. Steiner. Discussion. Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Who made the motion?
Oh, I thought for a second I did. I'll make a motion. We approve the agenda as submitted. You second, right, Mr. Steiner? Or did you make the motion?
Second is amended.
As amended.
Okay. Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
And the motion passed 7-0. Item 3 is the consent agenda. The agenda committee recommends to approve and place on file the minutes of the November 17th, 2020 regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. B, approve the Bedford Township Board meeting dates for 2021. Anybody have any questions on the dates that we have in place?
Mr. Supervisor, since we have 2 new board members, I think we should split the vote on this and call A to make a motion to approve the minutes of the November 17th, 2020 regular meeting minutes as presented.
Okay.
Support.
Any comments or suggestions? Did you make a motion on that
Yes.
first one? Okay. Supported for Ms. Janizek. Discussion. Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni,
Aye. Aye.
and Phil, you told me Mr. Bruning and Mr. Gore are not supposed to vote on this. They have to abstain.
Yes, because they weren't present at the meeting as elected trustees.
Now, do I have to call them and they have to say abstain? Or
That
how
would-
does it work?
It's fine. Call them and they'll simply abstain.
Okay, Mr. Bruning,
Abstain.
Mr. Gore.
I'll abstain.
Okay, the motion is passed 5-0.
The next one, I'll make a motion to approve the Bedford Township Board meeting dates for 2021 as published.
Support.
Supported Ms. Janizek. Discussion on the dates. Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Okay, moving on to public comment. We've changed it around a little bit. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes for board agenda items only. Then the second comment time is 2 minutes. So. Good afternoon. Please state your name and address and go ahead with your comment for board agenda items only. Jim, you there?
Well, I'm here, just come to listen, that's all. Have a good meeting.
Okay, all right, moving on. Do we have any more comments from the public?
Hello?
Good evening. Go ahead and state your comments. It's 5 minutes and it's changed up a little bit. It's for board agenda items only for the first 5 minutes, just so you know.
Oh, okay, so this is Kojo, so am I on the board agenda or?
Go ahead,
Can I take
state your comment. I didn't know it was you. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, thank you, and let me begin by congratulating all those who were victorious in the elections. My name is Kojo. I'm the president of Monroe County Community College, and I'm calling to simply thank Bedford for voting yes on our millage. We received 57% of the votes there in Bedford, compared to 45% 4 years ago and 28% 6 years ago. So thank you. Just simply to call in to say thank you, and also to inform you of the Futures for Frontliners, which is a program, free community college for all frontline workers. And it's not just healthcare workers, but all kinds of workers in retail and other areas. So that's free. And so if you access our website at the college, you can have access to that, and they can apply. The deadline is the 31st of December. So just to inform you of that, free community college in our county. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Kojo. Have a great night.
Okay, you too.
Okay, go ahead and state your name and address. I think you still have Dr. Kojo on there. Okay, there you go.
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. I want to welcome our new members, and I'm talking regarding the agenda. So I questioned appointing at least new members to any of these committees, given that our new people here probably have not had enough time to study this, and the fact that not all the boards are listed. But I'm going to go through quickly here. Some of my high points I thought should be noted. The BZA, maybe we should shorten the term on that. The fire department, as far as the code, that should probably be dropped and moved to join with the building code board. The appeals could have at least one fire rep on it. That would save a whole lot of people, separate meetings, and etc. The Green Initiative. There really isn't a purpose for this. This is the supervisor's office hand-picked version of what the beautification committee was. And considering that 4 of them need to be renewed, it would be a good time to disband it. The Lewis Avenue corridor, it landed the TAP grant on the heels of the Temperance Action Committee, but as yet, due to their the organization going forward with more party planning, bike rides, and other things, they have not achieved their mission, which was to draw the lines for the corridor authority. That was the only focus they were to take care of. So I was happy to see that we've got some new faces, residential faces, wanting to join this. So I look forward to seeing a big change up there. Library Advisory Board, I want to know what that committee has suggested. I see we have 2 people nominated that didn't even ask to be put on it, whereas we have an educator and a library worker who were not suggested as being put on there. That's wrong. That's got to change. Again, planning. If there's nothing due in their next agenda, maybe we should just hold off on that. I think we should consider joining TMCOG. It would decrease our rates for CMCOG. Maybe a COW meeting would be the best avenue, but I did like seeing the rules. I would like to know who is it that takes charge of the attendance. And I'd like to see a listing of all the other groups that we are represented on, who the people are, such as South County Water. I was alerted that we've been absent in these meetings due to a conflict with an outside non-essential gathering. So that would be a good thing, I think, for us to see everything that we're represented. I know CMACOG and all those, we are supposed to have people there. So I thank you for taking the time to hear me. I like the 5 minutes for the agenda because that's what we should be addressing. I thank you. I'll watch the meeting. Good night.
Thank you. Have a great night. Go ahead with your name and address and go ahead with your 5 minutes. And just so you know, it's changed up a little bit. This is for board agenda items only, and you get 5 minutes.
Well, thank you very much. Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. In the past administrations, we had 5 minutes to discuss issues on the agenda, which was helpful because often there were several items that people wanted to talk to, and it was very difficult to cover all of that. I was already said, and that is, with respect to all of these committees, these are very, very important. These committees do a lot of the legwork for the board. They do research. They bring in reports, support the goals and objectives of the board. We have 2 new members who may or may not know who the people are that are on those boards today. They should have an opportunity to study this process, to study the people who are on it, to study the people who are being proposed to be on it. I know one trustee just got his information in the last couple days, which means it's very difficult to understand all of this. So my view is, and I hate them, is that you would have a special meeting, or alternatively, you would do all of these assignments at one meeting, not 2. And the reason I suggest that is because you have a chance then to look at the big picture for all of the folks who are being proposed, and that you might make good business decisions as a result of looking at this as a big picture all on the same day. Of course, now with respect to the approval of SEMCOG, I have a deep bias there. I always support that. There are over 150 governmental agencies that are members of SEMCOG. And in the past, there have been numerous times when you could call SEMCOG about a problem that you were having locally and find someone who has already maybe looked at the problem and solved the issue. It is certainly a resource that is very valuable, and so the cost to join is a return on that investment is exceedingly high. That's my comment with respect to those 2 items, and I wish all of the new members good luck, and this is not an easy program to go forward. Establish the goals and objectives and support them and do your best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lamar. Have a great night. Okay. Moving on to staff reports. 6A, approve the hiring of 2 full-time fire department employees. Chief Mastingill.
Yes, sir. Good evening. This is a follow-up to the last meeting where we created 2 additional full-time positions. We've done an internal search of candidates. We've got 2 internal qualified members, and we're bringing forward and recommending Lieutenant Paramedic Perriott and Firefighter Arnold. Both of them have extensive experience and meet the qualifications. Committee recommended them, which I'm passing along to the board tonight.
Anybody have any comments or questions for Chief? Okay, seeing none, I look for a motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I was trying to get to my unmute button.
Oh, okay.
Once again, Chief, I know we've had some discussions, and again, for the public knowledge, regarding your budget and these two new employees, this is included in your projections for your upcoming budget and beyond, correct?
That is correct. Yes, we've got we're budgeted out with some general assumptions as far as taxable revenue through the end of the millage. It was just approved, and we're still projecting a surplus even with these two positions at the end of the millage.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted everybody to understand that you did have that within the budgets that we have approved.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody have any more questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I look for a motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make the motion to approve the hiring of the recommended new firefighters to the position for Lieutenant/Paramedic Brad Perriott and Firefighter Paramedic Carlton Arnold as presented by the Fire Chief. And these roles will begin January 3rd, 2021. And the costs for these employees are within the budget as stated by Chief Messingill.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported by Ms. Januzak. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Gore.
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, motion passed 7-0. Item 8A, Chief, are you planning on staying on the meeting tonight, Chief?
I can, sir.
Okay, I just had a couple of questions for you when we get to 8K. Okay, 8A, vouchers for payment, Ms. Hirschberger.
Just 1 second. My board packet was taken apart, so let me just get back to those. All right. I would like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General Fund, $66,280.94. Fire District, $14,699.11. Police Fund, $207.04. Park Fund, $1,520.75. Fire Equipment, $1,975.28. Transit System Fund, $45. Library Fund, $1,867.69. Downtown Development Authority, $1,025. Sewer O&M Fund, $1,758.13. Trust and Agency Fund, $6,053.79 for a grand total of $95,432.73.
Support.
Okay, motion supported by Ms. Januzak. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
You're muted.
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8B, approval to reappoint one member to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a term ending 12/31/23. I'm recommending we reappoint Jake Lake to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a term ending 12/31/22. I'll make a motion that we approve that. Jake Lake has been a longtime member. He served on planning. Now he's serving on BZA. He's extremely sharp and does a great job, and he's an excellent board member. So,
Mr. Supervisor.
motion is supported by Mr. Montry. Discussion, Mr. Steiner?
Just a comment there. I've been on the zoning appeals now for a number of years. I work with Jake Lake. This is just the end of his first term. I also recommend leaving Jake Lake on the zoning appeals. He's done a very good job on zoning appeals. He's been right down the middle. No biases that I've ever seen with Jake on that board. And he's also a good leader for the chairman's position that he's currently holding. So I'm in agreement with the recommendation to leave Jake Lake as a renewal on that board.
Okay, any more discussion, comments?
Mr. Supervisor, a couple of quick things.
Oh, go ahead.
So I'm okay with going ahead with the Board of Zoning and maybe the planning, but the rest of them, I think we need to push those or move those so we can have some more time. In going through the applications, and I've been through all of them and I'm still going through them, there's some policy issues that I have with some of the applications. For instance, policy for the committee policies, it specifically says if a person has served 2 consecutive terms, priority shall be given to new applicants. In some of those appointments, I have not seen. We've had new applicants that did not get priority. Also, under number 7 for committee policies, this says all members must apply for reappointment. And I have seen some reappointments on there. However, they did not reapply. Some of their applications are for 2016, and I don't know if that's a discrepancy or wording issue. Has that been done in the past where they've used their previous applications, or how has that been?
You know, there's a number of things that have been done in the past for reappointments. People are on their 6 terms. So, yeah, I mean, it's no applications resubmitted. So if that's the way we want to do it, that's the way we can do it moving forward. But typically it's been reappointment, no issues. But I get it if we want to do some things. But as we go through the agenda items, if you want to pull them off, make a motion to pull them off, we'll pull them off.
Okay, just each individual one?
Yeah, we're not going to pull them off. Let's get through this one, and then we'll go to the next one. And if you want to pull it off, we'll make a motion to pull it off.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Ms. Jandesak,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Does the whole board feel they want to remove all the agenda items except for the planning?
Yes.
Something that everybody's in agreement to? Okay, I'll make a motion that we remove 8C till next board meeting.
Support.
Okay, motion supported by Mr. Gore. Discussion? Please got some loud feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, call roll, please.
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr.
Can you hear
Gore?
me?
Aye.
I can hear you now. Did you have a comment, Craig?
Yeah, I was trying to. I'm just getting
Go
blasted.
ahead.
Like I can barely hear myself.
ahead.
What? I don't understand. I was like, I don't know if Joe. I just don't understand.
Jorge brought up, I'm sure it was gone over with some of the policy. This is the first time the rules have been put into the agenda, so there's questions brought up that there's reappointments. I'm not sure we have, if somebody's supposed to take priority over some reappointments, so like you said, there's some policy issues. There's no point in going through them and discussing if we're just gonna move it to the next meeting anyway. So that'll give the new board members more time to look at them. And, if they have questions, they can call or do whatever they need to do. So.
Mr. Supervisor?
Go ahead, Mr. Steiner.
So I will add just real quick. I've had a couple of discussions. So my thought process is, honestly, this board packet is the first time I've ever seen anybody present the policies as well. But we do need to follow those. They were approved. There were board minutes that that approve these particular, these policy regulations here. My suggestion, I mean, we're on short timing this year, but I think going forward, we should request all applications be started in October of each year. By the middle of November, all applications must be submitted. That allows us the time to have a committee meeting of the whole to sit down and discuss and review all the applicants. And since it is the supervisor's role to request appointments, then the first meeting in December, the supervisor could put them on the agenda with the request based on our committee of the whole meeting. If they're all approved, fine. Anything is not approved, we move to the December 15th meeting. I sent a spreadsheet out to all the board members, basically listing the applications that were presented to us. I thought it was pretty well organized. Nobody called or asked questions on it. Mr. We had one question on it, but nobody else had any questions. But what I'll volunteer to do is any applications that we want, maybe the format I sent, maybe not everybody liked it. I just did it as more of a read across so we could see who applied for what, whether they were a current board member or committee member, whether they're being requested for reappointment, whether it's a new appointment, et cetera. Input for that, let me know. I'll tweak that sheet. I want to make it as easy to read as possible. So when we do sit down and discuss, that it's easy to read across. Granted, you need to read the applications, but it's easy to read across once you get to the meeting because you've already done your homework. So I'll work on that. And I'd like to see us use that format or a similar format going forward every year when it comes to reappointments.
No, that's a good idea, Rick. I'm glad you're stepping up to do that. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Could you call the roll, please?
What's the motion?
To,
I think we're on 8C. Were you just doing 8C, or are you going to do all of them under one motion?
can't do them all under motion. They're all separate agenda items. So
Okay.
we're just gonna have to do each one individual here. So 8C, to remove till next meeting.
I support.
Okay, motion supported. Any more discussion? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Ms. Jandasek,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
No.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Okay, the motion passed 6-1. Item 8D. I'll make a motion that we remove 8D until next meeting. Support.
Second.
Okay, motion is supported by Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please? Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Ms. Jandasek,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
No.
Hirschberger votes yes.
Okay, the motion passed 6-1. Item 8F, approval to reappoint members of Lewis Avenue. I make a
E.
motion, we
E.
move
E.
that. Oh, 8E, sorry. I'll make a motion that we push that to the next meeting. Item 8E. Okay, motion supported by Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
No.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Ms. Jandasek,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Okay, the motion passed 6-1. Item 8F, I'll make a motion that we push that to the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion is supported by Mr. Steiner. Any discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Ms. Jandasek,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
No.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Okay, the motion passed 6-1. Okay, I'll make a motion that we remove 8G till next meeting.
Support.
Okay, motion supported by Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Montroy,
No.
Ms. Jandesak,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Okay, item 8H, approval to appoint, reappoint members to the Planning Commission for terms ending 12/31/2023. Okay, no, we're not removing that one. Unless you want it, unless we don't want it there. I thought he was okay with keeping the two on there.
I'm okay with the planning commission. I'll support the move forward.
Well, hold on one second, let me get there.
So we have an appointment and a reappointment.
Yep, so just give me 1 second. I'll make a motion that we appoint Matt Van Assecker to the Planning Commission
I'll second.
for a term ending 12/31/23.
Second
Just so the board knows and new members, Matt Van Assecker is new to the community living here. He's only lived here for a couple of months, but he's been extremely involved over the past 3-4 years. One, he was Senator Zorn's right-hand man, and he also has been a liaison to the Lewis Avenue Redevelopment Committee with the BDC. He currently works for the BDC with Tim Lake. That's the Business Development Corporation, which this board contracts with for bringing in new businesses to our community. He's been just extremely involved with the Economic Development Committee when that was moving along. So he's a great guy and would be a very good addition to the board.
And Mr. Peroni, just to add to that, I was the one that actually made a recommendation for Mr. Van Assecker to join this particular planning commission board. Matt has an extensive background, as Mr. Peroni stated. He works with Tim Lake at the BDC. He's very well aware of what goes on in Bedford Township. The BDC, anybody that has worked with the BDC or understands BDC knows just how much impact the BDC can have for Bedford. Matt has a great, not a resume, but a good write-up of his vision and what he sees in Bedford. He's used to following policies and procedures because the company he works for, the BDC, does have a lot of policies and procedures that they must follow as well. So I felt that Matt would make a very good planning commission member. That's why I made the recommendation.
And he went to Hillsdale College, which is a plus.
Doesn't make him a bad guy.
Just for clear, why is this? I don't understand still. Why is this one different?
I probably because Mr. Gore or Ms. Hirschberger.
Is it just in the policy? Is the policy
different? Are you
different?
asking why this one's staying on? I'm telling you why this one's probably staying on.
Yeah.
Because Planning Commission has a meeting coming up and they need to have their board members trained and ready to go for probably their next meeting. So I'm sure somebody talked to Mr. Gore about it, and that's probably why he's okay with this one staying on. Correct, Mr. Gore?
Yeah, I've talked to several people,
Okay.
but I am able to make up my own opinion, and there's
No,
a
I'm
lot
not
of
saying
issues
that
with the
you're not.
policy.
No, I'm not saying that you're not. I'm saying it's probably what happened, which is fine. We can, we need to keep them moving. So.
Well, that's what I'm asking, Joe. Like Joe, what is? I'm genuinely asking, Joe. Like I don't understand, or Todd or whoever.
As Mr. Peroni stated, the planning and the zoning, they need to move forward. These rest of them, they don't need to move forward right now. And there's some other policy issues that I have with some of the other applications and appointments.
And also, Craig, to add to that, there's people that have applied for positions. Their applications aren't in here, so I don't know if they were selectively left off or not, but on different committees here, I have had people tell me that they applied for it, and I've gone through the packets, they're not in there.
That's probably because they applied after the fact of me submitting the memos to the clerk's department. We received a lot in the meantime. So
Yeah, I'm just genuinely like, I just want to make sure.
there has been a few that have come in.
Why it was different.
Yeah.
But no,
So
that's-
these other two need to be voted on. They need to move forward. The other ones can wait though.
So, but Lewis Avenue, they plan to have a meeting, next, I think next Monday, and they, so there's committees are still moving on, we can appoint them next meeting. It's not a problem at all, but they're correct. These two other ones need to be reappointed and moving forward.
well, if they're policy issues, then it wouldn't matter if they need to be. That's why I'm genuinely
Well, there's
like,
no policy issues with the planning.
okay.
Right.
So
Yeah.
then I guess that's kind of the answer.
mean,
Then
other
that there's
people
not any
appointed
issues with
for-
that.
There were other people that that applied to be on planning. If we want to table it because other people applied to be on it. I mean, you've got 2 applications that came in today, I think, that want to be on planning as well. One of them's Lamar
Well, you already
Frederick.
got a motion to approve it.
I'm just saying, there, as far as I'm concerned, there's no policy issue there.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering why that was different.
And Mr. Go, I wasn't trying to make a dig. I'm trying to explain to Mr. Montribe the situation that happened because the planning commission, we met as well and they told me the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
they need to move forward. No, I'm fine. We can move forward.
call the roll, please.
Mr. Crony,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
No,
Wait a minute.
Ms.
What?
Ms. Jandasek,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
And the motion passed 6-1. Okay, moving on to 8I, approval of
No.
SEMCOM.
We have to approve the other member.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, this next member is Ron Fritz. We are looking at a reappointment for him. So I'm requesting the board to reappoint Ron Fritz to the Planning Commission, term ending 12/31/2023.
I'll support.
Okay, motion is supported. Discussion?
I have a question.
Okay.
If we're gonna stick with the policy here, so Mr. Fritz did not reapply. This is a specific requirement of committee policy number 7. Are we okay with that?
The board can do whatever they want to do. So if the board's not okay with it, don't do it. If they are, move forward.
Now, are you talking, Todd? Are you talking about that sheet that was in the packet? Correct.
Yeah, the committee policies, like this
See-
committee policy sheets, that's what like all the problems are boiling down with all the other policies.
Well,
And
I thought
if we are going to,
I thought
then-
that that sheet, maybe I misunderstood. I thought that was only for BZA. Like it says, that it says BZA. I did not know that was for all. That's for all because it only says BZA and planning. That's why that's why I'm really confused. Is I thought it would be like the inverse if we're talking policies.
Well,
we
if you
also
read
have
down, Craig,
non-paid committees.
you have to read down to the middle. It says paid committees other than BZA and planning, and then below that says non-paid committees.
Mhm.
in number 3, rules numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7 shall apply, as well as BZA and Planning Commission for paid committees.
That's what I'm saying though. Is it says right at the top BZA. Like that's what I thought it was for those committees, not for. I thought it would have been like. Not that this would not. This is worded weird then.
Well, Craig, if you
I
look,
thought it was
if you
only-
look, it's,
I thought that's all it was covering.
now, if you look down, it's very light text. It's very light gray where it splits between 1 to 7, then you've got 1 to 4 and 1 to 4.
Mhm.
There's another gray text title above those 4 items in the center of the page and then the last 4.
Okay.
It might be easy to look over if you didn't get a good copy.
No, I see it. Okay. Yeah, I was.
Do we want to table this one till next meeting?
Well, do you need? Well, that's why I'm asking if we're talking policy or are we talking it needs to move forward. That's what I didn't.
It can
I
move
feel like
forward.
we're hopping around.
It can move forward. The board doesn't have to follow the committee policy. It hasn't for the past 20 years. But if we want to table it, we can.
Well, and that's what I want to bring
I'll
up.
remove my motion.
We need to start adhering to some of these policies so the people
agree
that are
with you.
watching have some trust put back in us. So I think we need to move forward.
There's
with
trust in
that.
us. We don't need to say that. There's trust in this board. The policy has never been put on the agenda. I've never seen this piece of paper, so. Mr. Hertzberger?
We could hold off on Ron's. He already is a member, so it's not that he needs to be brought up to speed on anything. He can fall right into place if we want to hold off till the next meeting.
Right, and with what
I'll
Mr. Hertzberger
remove-
just said, the one reason on Dennis Jenkins is not going to participate with the planning commission anymore. So that one was an actual new appointment because Dennis is resigning from planning.
Okay, I'll remove my motion.
I don't think we had a second, did we?
Mr. Montry seconded it.
Okay, so
Why is Ron? I don't understand.
Ron is currently a board member, so he wouldn't need to be brought back up to speed if we want to wait on his appointment till the next meeting.
Why wouldn't we make his appointment? Where does that break the policy?
He didn't
Because
reapply.
policy,
Didn't reapply
Isn't this an application?
from
He's
2017.
got to send in a new one.
Because it's okay.
What we need to do is follow the committee policy to the T, okay? Because that's what the us do. So we need to do that. Okay, so are you okay with removing the motion?
No,
Right.
but it's okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we table Ron Fritz till next board meeting.
second,
Okay, motion supported, Mr. Steiner. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
aye,
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
No.
Ms. Jandasek.
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye.
Okay, the motion passed 6-1. Okay, moving on to 8I, approval of SEMCOG 2021 annual membership. We've been a member of this for many years, and it is something that we definitely utilize to the full extent. I'm actually a member of the grants committee. So we're extremely involved in the SEMCOG. We actually got a grant. We've gotten a few grants from them actually over the years. One was with the DDA and one was just with Lewis Avenue. I recommend, actually, I'll make a motion that we approve the renewal of the SEMCOG annual membership dues of $4,140.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and supported. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
aye,
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Ms. Jandasek.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8J, approval of 2 salt spreaders for the maintenance department. We have 3 bids on here. The one we're going to be recommending is the estimate from Cobra. We're actually going to we'll be getting a discount if we buy 2. So they would be, instead of the $54.40, they'd be $4,800 per. We always use the 8,500 dump truck. It's leaking oil very heavily right now. The brakes are going out. It's a money pit. It's having lots of issues. And that's what we actually used for a salt spreader. And we actually had taken it out of service, so that's why I actually have that agenda item added to keep the fire department Suburban for a spare plow. So as far as the spreaders, one of them, we have 3 dump trucks. One just was taken out of service, so we'll have 2 dump trucks now, and each dump truck will have a salt spreader. Basically, Adam and Pat will be going in their own trucks, and then we'll have a seasonal guy come on, or we'll have Jeff, our seasonal maintenance guy that we have on staff now. He will go in a truck to each one of our buildings, and he would remove snow from the sidewalks and spread salt on all the sidewalks at all the buildings. It's the most efficient way to do it. We really, we have to get our fire departments cleared immediately. So I'm recommending that we purchase them. Mr. Steiner?
Just a couple questions.
What's his budget for?
I see the second quote, which was $48.50 per unit. So 2 units would be $9,700. Does that include the installation labor? I don't see it broken down on that one. And while you're looking, bid number 3 was much higher than the first 2. The question I have on the one you're recommending, it was $49.50 plus $490 for the labor. So that would have been that 54 that the number that you mentioned per unit. But if we bought 2, is it 4,800? But do you still have to multiply that labor times 490, or are they going to do both of them for 490? So, because you got that would be 10,680 if you have to pay the labor of 490 on both. So then that quote would be higher than the C. Bundy sales at 9,700 if that's got installation included.
What I'm seeing with the C. Bundy sales, it was very poorly written quote.
That's true too.
Very limited and no information whatsoever. So it's hard to decipher what is actually covered in the costs, the total cost.
Led me to assume that was equipment only, is what I assumed, because it didn't have anything extra.
And that's why I asked the question, because I don't see any labor. But then I still have the question to make sure we're talking about the right pricing. If we do go forward with Cobra, do we have to pay the $490 per unit, or does that include both? Because you're looking at $10,090 versus $10,680.
I feel like I could make the argument that the 4,800 is all inclusive with 2.
I don't know if I don't think I could agree with that point.
Well, why don't we do this? We can, it looks like it's for one of them, from what I'm seeing. I just called Al. He thought it was for both of them. So what we can do is make the motion to add 490 to the 1090. And if we don't need it, we don't need it. And if we do, we do. Either way, we need 2 salt spreaders. So I agree with you, Mr. Gore. The Bundy sales quote isn't very good, but Cobra is semi-local. They're over there by 23 and Stearns.
Right.
Now, is the miscellaneous labor, is that, I'm assuming that, is that installation or is that, and do we need the installation to be performed by them?
Typically, you want to have it installed by who you purchase it from for warranty and stuff like that,
So
but
usually warranty items, that's what happens.
so,
Well, you almost have, if you're gonna do it, you gotta assume that you're paying the labor for both of them. You're paying double that labor. You're not paying $490.
well, I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 2 salt spreaders from Cobra Truck and Fabrication, Inc. in the total of $10,090 with an extra $490 in case we have to pay an extra $490 for the second installation. Do we have a support or no? Mr. Steiner, do you have a question?
I have a quick question. And I'm not familiar with these large salt spreaders, but it looks like they've got listed 5 hours to install a salt spreader. Does it take 5 hours for one salt spreader or is it 2.5 hours and a piece to install? Does anybody know?
Joe, I don't know. So that's why I added the extra $490 in there. And if it ends up being to where the $490 was covering, it looks like to me, the $490 is for one salt spreader. Cause that's why it's got the $490 plus the $49.50 with a total of $54.40 in case we bought one. So I would say with the second one in there, you're going to have to add another $490. So if we make the motion to approve the 10,000,
Be 10,680 if you went the other way.
10,580, then we would have enough in there to cover the second install.
I'll support.
Okay, motion and support of Mr. Gore. Any more discussion?
Yeah, and it just an FYI, I mean, you got to think too, it's not just putting a salt spreader hopping on the back end of the vehicle. They've got to run the controls up to the cab and things like that and do all their testing, make sure all the electrical. So yeah, I can see where they're probably putting that in.
The way
labor maybe.
It looks like they gave a bid for one salt spreader with installation, the $54.40.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's go with your, we've got a motion and a second on the floor. Let's go with the premise that that's there. And if you can negotiate away some of the labor, if you're getting two, let's do it.
I'll see what I can do.
I mean, if it's not there, it's not there, but can't hurt to ask for it.
We believe in you.
Greg's pretty fair. That's who I got my plow from. He's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not going to lose money, but if he can hook you up, he will.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple in the last couple of years. I think we've got a V plow and stuff. So could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Okay,
Ms. Berger votes aye.
And the motion passed 7-0. Item 8K, discussion of keeping the Suburban instead of putting it out there to the public for bid. Chief, I talked to you a little bit today. I understand the Suburban is getting old. It is showing rust. You had mentioned that it does need a battery, but it's in good running condition. Can you tell me of any issues that you know of that it has?
Not specifically, mainly because it's been sitting for a year, so it's got a good motor in it. It's 26-year-old vehicle that we've retired because we had concerns as we've updated the fleet. Obviously, we took it out of service, so it's been sitting for about a year. So I guess I can't specifically say anything about what issues it has or doesn't have, other than it's a solid vehicle all the way around for us, or has been.
So the issue is with the big dump being taken out of service. I did have Lewis Avenue Auto Repair send a diesel mechanic over there today to evaluate it, to see, what exactly is wrong with it, so we could put it up for sale, because it hasn't been safe. The brakes have gone out at multiple times on the guys. Is we're down one plow. I'm sure you guys are aware the township is taken on removing snow from neighborhoods on day one, and it's been very successful over the past couple of years. But what we do is we budget roughly $10,000 each year, and we partner with Stoneco. We separate the township into 4 quadrants, 2 sections for Lambertville and 2 sections for Temperance. And we hire Stoneco to bring in, with 5 inches or more, they'll bring in 3 or 4 snow plows on Lambertville, and then we'll have 3 or 4 snow plows in Temperance. And it works very good. Last year, or the one event we had, we were all done with all 127 neighborhoods in 7 hours. The issue we're running into now is when our maintenance guys are clearing, because obviously our fire departments are top priority to get them cleared and salted, then the library, and then the township hall, and then our parks. Obviously in the wintertime can wait a little bit, but we'll get on them. And it typically takes them a little more than a half a day to get all of it done if things go smooth, depending on how it goes. So they have 2 plows tied up. That leaves us with 1 plow for Temperance. So my thought was, if we can keep the Suburban, and we have an F-250 over there right now that doesn't have a plow, then we would have 5 plows available. So if the maintenance guys have 2 plows and they're using for the parking lots on the half a day, my seasonal guys are off in the neighborhoods plowing snow if we purchase 2 plows. The reason I thought we could keep the Suburban, I would recommend getting a quote on a new plow blade. I thought I was going to be able to get one this past weekend that was used in really good condition for the F-250, but that fell through. But so yeah, we don't have to keep the Suburban, but I think it's a good solid vehicle for what we would need it for. We could keep it garage kept in one of the back barns. And if it lasts us a few years for what we want to do, at that point we sell it or scrap it or do whatever, and we figure out something else. But it's just an idea of a frugal way to continue doing what we've been doing, which is clearing the roads in 7 hours. So it's going to be tough to do with only 3 plows with the maintenance guy taking 2. So, Mr. Steiner, do you have a question? You're muted.
I know you talked about it, already was posted. What was the blue book on this vehicle?
I think they had it up to 2,500.
Yeah, 2,500.
Okay,
It's
and
in fair
then
condition.
and when it comes to maintenance records, do we have anything that shows any expenditures in this last year? I know Chief said it's primarily out of service, with limited, if any, use. So I don't know if there was any expenditures that you can recall on this vehicle that start the cost of the arm and a leg, or.
So what I can recommend we do is, if we hold off on taking the bids, I could get it evaluated from Lewis Avenue. They could look it over and let us know their thoughts on it.
We could get some snow. We could get some snow, but I don't think this one's going to make it extremely imperative. I think that'd be a good idea to have somebody evaluate the vehicle, let us know if there's anything that absolutely must be repaired, especially if you want to put a plow on there. You put a plow on there, your general driving goes away and you get a lot rougher use out of that vehicle. And especially when you start hitting bumps and curbs and things like that. So we want to make sure, especially that whole undercarriage, the chassis and the front end especially are in excellent condition to put a plow on it. So I think that's a good idea that we move this and we put this into the next meeting after we get an evaluation.
Well, what I I guess I would ask that the board postpone or stop accepting bids. Is there a way to do that, Trudy, or is it we just got to let it run through?
I'm not sure because the board voted to sell that vehicle, so we put it out for bid and the bid time is not over yet. I don't know.
Yeah, what if we get some big money for it?
I doubt you're going to get big money, but Phil could probably weigh in there. I would think that, again, there's nothing that says that, I mean, somebody could bid 10 grand if you'd be crazy, but you could say, no, I'm not going to accept your bid. I'm not going to sell it now. I don't think there's anything that's binding that says we have to sell it because you don't have a signed contract. Is Mr. Goldsmith still on?
Look like it. I think we lost him.
I have a question. Is that vehicle already equipped for a plow, or does all that have to be added on to it also?
Correct.
It's gonna
Okay,
be
so-
added on.
And that's not going to be cheap.
No,
A spreader is $4,800. A plow and all that equipment has got to be more than that.
It's a little bit more. I think the cheapest plow 9-foot wide blade is another probably 6,000, something like that, 5,000-6,000. So.
And that's before we even get it evaluated. So we're into it $6,000 before we even get it evaluated to see what's even wrong with it. Because cars that are vehicles that sit for a year, they go bad. Whether or not the tires dry rot or whether or not, there's other mechanical issues or whatnot. But I would have to see that evaluation.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think at the minimum, we, hold off on the board accepting the bids. We don't have to accept the bids, so we could just let it keep playing out. We won't accept the bids until I get the evaluation, and at that time, get it back to the board and see what our thoughts are. It's not extremely expensive to get mounts for the Suburban. I mean, if it doesn't have it, you know what I mean? I don't think it has mounts, but I mean, it's not, I don't think it costs an extremely amount of money to get it to where you could put a plow blade on it, but I'll get it evaluated. So.
I have a question for Adam. Is Adam still on?
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's muted.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you get rid of it to begin with?
So vehicles that are 26 years old, obviously, for a frontline vehicle, we try and take them out as a frontline responder after 15 years. After 25 years, without a doubt, we try to get them out of service, even as a reserve capacity. So as we replace a fleet of ambulances, we replace that one as quickly as we could, just because it's an older vehicle. And essentially, we don't need any more. So the intent to get rid of it is just so that we're not collecting vehicles we're not using. Try and keep the fleet slim.
Isn't it mainly cheap? You can't get certified anymore through the code after 25 years too.
So the NFP requirement for fire apparatus is 15 and 25 years. That's generally what we follow. So for like a pickup truck or a Suburban, depending on the wear and tear, we might try and stretch out a little bit past the 15-year mark, but it's just strictly dependent on each vehicle. We've got a lot of life. Like I said, at 22 years for that Suburban, we got a lot of life out of that. So I think we did really well as far as that goes within the department. But
yeah, the good thing is with the step, and so I'd be surprised at the frame rusting out on it. We'll get it looked at.
Did you have any major issues with it?
We replaced, I believe, an alternator in the last year of its life. I'm not sure, ma'am. So I'd have to look back through the service records to see for sure. So I'm sure Lewis Avenue could pull up the service records for the last couple of years if we wanted to look at those and see how much work we put into it, how much expenses went into it.
Okay.
And there's a difference between a vehicle being in shape to run life and death situations to a vehicle being in the situation to push snow around, I would think.
Oh, you got that, Craig, and you got the life and death situations. You got a vehicle push snow, or just a daily runner to run around town. I mean, there's three big differences in those scenarios.
There are, but I don't want to sink money into a vehicle that You know, I don't care what his value is. If we're gonna sink money into it, I don't want to hold on to it.
Correct.
Well, I mean, at some point though, I mean, we're gonna have to, if we're gonna continue the service of removing snow, we're gonna have to get something to replace that big dump. Because that was what we were using for a plow.
Well,
Otherwise, you know, we're gonna be, you know, we're gonna spend $75,000 on a new dump with a blade or a new F-250 with a blade. We can get a blade on the F-250 we have now. I'm looking at quotes right now for a blade for the F-250. And I'll bring that to the next meeting if I have everything together in time. But so that would give us 4, but we'd only have 2, you know, moving while the maintenance is going. It would be tough to get it done in a decent amount of time. So.
If you start plowing with that Suburban, that's gonna tear that thing up. I mean, just with my truck I plow, mine's a 2001, and every year it's new U-joints, new everything. I don't know if that Suburban's gonna be ready for that. Plus, you're gonna have to put a bunch of weight in the back end of that.
I think we're all set. I mean, let's see. Have you heard our conversation, Phil?
No, I got removed from Microsoft Teams for some reason, so I had to call in.
Okay. Okay.
Hey,
I would still like him to answer the questions though that we had.
So since I brought up, I'll go ahead and, because I was asking Phil if you were there. So Phil, I said, if we decide we want to have the vehicle where we already have out for bids, it's already been posted. There's bids probably coming in already, but since we don't have any contract signed, we're talking about potentially pulling it off this agenda, getting the vehicle evaluated, and still deciding whether we want to keep it or still sell it. And I don't think there's any legal ramifications that says that we have to sell it just because it was put up for bid.
No, there are no legal ramifications. I'm sure Trudy, who's very well read in these things and very well educated in these bidding projects, put in the bid that any and all bids can be rejected for any and all reasons. So she normally puts that standard language in. So you could, if you want to, terminate the bidding process, evaluate whether or not it would be in the best interest of the township and the taxpayers to retain the vehicle and use it for another season. You can do that.
I guess I was just asking, do we need a motion to stop the bidding and I can pull it back off?
I would say yes. A motion to direct you as the clerk to pull the vehicle off the bidding process. And then if you want to even go farther, you could say for the purpose of evaluating whether it would be in the best interest of the township to retain ownership of it and use it for an additional snowplow vehicle for this winter season.
Trudy, how long does that bid go through?
It goes, I think, till either next week or the week after.
Okay, so if we get it evaluated, it could go back up to bid at that point if we decide that we still want to sell it.
Mr. Montry?
what's the value of pulling it off the bid instead of just writing it out and seeing what you get?
That's what I'm saying. Just let it ride out, see what you get. If the board wants to deny the bids, we deny the bids. If the board wants to, keep it, we can keep it. We don't have to accept.
Somebody might have, Chief might be throwing bids on that for sentimental value. We might get some money out of it. Now I have a question because I don't know anything about that sort of thing. Todd, would our plows, is it the kind of thing that are semi-universal? Where if we got a plow, if we say most you're going to get for this truck is $2,000 and we get a plow for it and we ride the wheels off because whatever, run it for a few years and then you have your plow and then we have to get a new vehicle, whatever. Is that something that is, like I said, moderately universal, or is it the kind of thing that, no, you screwed yourself because you already got a plow?
Yeah, some of your frames underneath would have to be changed depending on the types of vehicle, but the upper, what you generally see, Craig, outside the vehicle in front of the bumper, that part's pretty universal. With the mounting brackets and everything, you'd have to adapt it to the frame and type of vehicle that you'd go to from one to the other.
The thing is, it would never be useless to us because we could always keep it as a spare plow, because every year we have issues with plows. Like Mr. Bruning said, we hit stuff or whatever. I mean, it happens every year. Stuff breaks.
And I get what
Have a spare
Trudy.
plow, that'd be nice, anyways.
I get what Trudy's saying too, and that's why I think, like, okay, well, if we run the bid process out, you get an idea of what you're going to get for it, and then you can go from there and go. Like you said, if the most you're going to get is $2,000 out of it or whatever, to me it makes sense to run the wheels off of it, throw a plow on it. Who cares if it falls apart after a few years? For that you extended the life on it, whatever, junk it, and
That's
get
exactly what I was
$1,000
thinking.
out of it.
As long as it's safe to drive, and the Suburban could obviously do the job easily, as the F-250s do. Run it till it's unsafe, and then we park it and sell it, and get something new or whatever the board wants.
A little bit before it's unsafe, but we'll get it there. Because it's definitely gonna beat the life out of it, that's for sure. But I mean, like I said, if you got a vehicle, you might as well do it instead of that's my perspective, I guess.
I think we should call this and make a decision whether we table it for evaluation or put it up to bid.
So, is it going to cost money to get the evaluation, and do we need to make a motion to do that if that is the case?
So we just don't make any motion. We just move on and let it ride out, and then we'll make a decision next meeting, because the bids will be on there to accept them or to not accept them. So, okay. Moving on to number 9, comments from the public. And this is changed up to comments limited to 2 minutes for each individual. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll move on for now. If we get a call, we'll accept it. Mr. Steiner, comments from board members?
Yeah, just a few things. Once again, we've got a call there. George, you want to let him in?
Let's go ahead and take a call. There we go. They're coming in now.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and state your name and address, and this comment is for 2 minutes. Ms. Hirschberger, you keep track of time then again? Okay.
That's all right. I won't be on this long. This is Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. I congratulate the board from having looked at these boards and commissions and taking some time to think about them and make informed decisions. Number 2, I'm finally pleased that somebody decided to follow the policies, even though we have a couple people who are questioning whether you should do that or not. But clearly, following the policy is important if you want to have transparency with our citizens in this community. Next, I appreciate the fact that you've joined SIMCOG. I think that's absolutely important. Lastly, this bit about snow plowing. I know that's been an ideal of the supervisor from day one, but yet these are roads that are responsibility of the road commission. And the road commission had in the past contracted with Stoneco to do the work. And so why isn't the road commission paying for this rather than the township? And if you're going to take this old Suburban, which originally was an incident control facility, as Mr. Steiner said and Mr. Bruning said, you better check this thing out before you start sticking 1,000 pounds or more on the front end of this thing, because you don't know if it's going to drive down the road and suddenly just collapse. So in any event, those are some issues that I have identified with, and thank you very much for your time. Bye.
Have a good night. Okay. Go ahead with your comment, Ms. Keene.
Hi, Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. I would like to see us get 5 minutes at the end, and I would like to see us be able to talk after the board makes their comments. But moving on, at the last meeting, I believe there was a comment made where the supervisor said that he had toured the properties that belonged to the township and was making the decisions to remove shrubs and was giving thought to replacing with rocks. And I understand that he is not allowed to make any decisions on his own. So I'm asking publicly, who else was a part of this tour and agreed that these bushes and whatnot should be changed? I missed it at the meeting if there was a board approval on it. At some point, we need to hire people for that maintenance department, like it or not. That's a priority. And the properties, including the 1/31,000th of the road roundabout that I belong to, I would like to see it be beautified with bushes and trees. And this process should be followed in all aspects. We need green. We have too many rooftops, people. And as far as the road clearing of the snow, the road commission will be under new authority. They no longer do the expressways, and I think we need to revisit this. This is a huge liability the township is taking on. My tax dollars do not pay to clear the primary roads, and there's a lot of discrepancy in what tax dollars are being paid and who is getting the benefit of my tax dollars. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Have a great night. Go ahead, Mr. Steiner. You have an article? Good evening. Go ahead and state your name and address. Are you there? Could you state your name and address,
Hello,
please?
yes. Yes, hello, this is Jody Russ calling. I live at 1273 Winding Way, and I'm calling in regards to the library. I just wanted to let the whole township board know and anybody who's watching the meeting that the whole library system has moved back to curbside service based on the number of rising cases of COVID-19 in the county. But that does not mean that we're not here to serve you guys. So if people, we can do curbside service for copy, fax, scan, print. We have Wi-Fi printing. People can send their print jobs to one of our printers. And of course, we can get books, movies, whatever it is that people need from their library. So I wanted to let everybody know that we don't let people come in at this point, but we will still provide curbside service. And I also, we do have 2 laptop computers that are set up in our lobby currently that you can make an appointment if somebody needs to come in and print something off or access their email or do something that they can't do some other way. We can allow people in for a brief period of time to access those computers should they need it. So I just wanted to let everybody know where the library stands right now. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Have a great night. Okay.
Thanks.
Mr. Steiner, go ahead.
Okay. Again, as I've stated a few different meetings, when it comes to the coronavirus, we all have to be responsible for ourselves and those that surround us. I'm not one to sit here and demand whether somebody should or should not wear a mask. That's not my role. But I say that everyone needs to take some responsibility in trying to protect yourselves and those around you. Also want to recognize, again, all the first responders, fire, EMS, law enforcement, everyone that's still out there along the front lines. And believe me, those people are coming into contact with people that have tested positive for the virus. So we want to pray for every one of them that they do not contract the virus, and let's hope that things are on the horizon for vaccines to come out in the very near future and hopefully help everyone. Last but not least, to the entire board again, the spreadsheet that I sent out, I've already got some ideas in my own head of modifying a little bit. Again, please review the sheet the way I sent it. When somebody looks at a spreadsheet that was created by someone else, sometimes it can be confusing. So if it's not understandable, give me a call and let me explain it. And maybe you've got an idea, we'll tweak it. But again, I would like to use a format like this going forward every year, so we can also ensure that the policies are being followed with it. We could even establish a general guideline policy. How do we use the template that I put together? When do we put out, like I said, in October, we put out the request for applications. We give them a deadline, so we don't have applications coming in after we've already gone to the board and tried to get appointments done. We have dates in there. We follow the dates just like the policy. So again, please, anyone that's got ideas or comments, give me a call there. And one last thing, last but not least, welcome to Todd and Joe. We've got 4 years of a lot of good things that we can do together. But we all have to remember one thing: we can all have our opinions of how we want things done, but as we've seen on previous boards, if we argue, we don't get anything done. So we need to at least respect each other's opinion, no matter how strongly we disagree with it. So, I might disagree with Joe, I might disagree with Paul, Krista, Trudy, anybody, but I'm always going to be respectful and respect your opinions. And we need to do that across the board. Otherwise, we won't get anything done on this board. I saw a quote recently, and I might bring it up at one of the next meetings. A pretty good quote that I saw regarding some enemies. And sometimes you don't want to necessarily create a full-blown enemy, but if you don't create an enemy here and there, it says you didn't do your job, is basically what the quote says. So I'll probably bring that forward in the next meeting or two and pass it along to everyone. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Gore, welcome to the board, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I just want to say thank you for everybody. What's that?
It's a lot of fun.
It is. I enjoy it. Just thank you for everybody for making me feel welcome on the board, reaching out to me. I know we'll be in touch, and Rick, I couldn't agree with you more. It's okay to disagree. We're fine with that. I mean, we wouldn't get anything done if we just rubber stamped everything. Yes. So I like to hear the other side of people's opinions, and I really appreciate those. So again, thanks to everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Well, that was one thing I enjoyed about Paul Francis on the board, is that guy, him and I, we'd go at it, and you know what? He'd be in my office 2 days later. We were sitting having coffee and talking. You're gonna have disagreements on this board, that's for sure. Mr. Bruning, welcome to the board also. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah, nothing to add. Not too bad for the first meeting here, so just see how things go. I like your spreadsheet. I wasn't bad at all, Rick. So if you're gonna tweak it or add to it, I already thought it was fine. So good to go.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments, Mr. Montray. And just so the board knows, Mr. Steiner's going to be on planning as a board rep. Mr. Gore is going to be on BZA as board rep. So Ms. Krista Janizek will be on Fire Department Board of Advisory as she'll continue that. And we're not sure of a couple of the other committees as far as grants. And I've talked to Mr. Montray about being on Park, and him and Todd are going to work that out. So, but Mr. Montray, go ahead with your comments.
Nothing, just welcome Todd and Joe. But nothing for me.
Okay. Ms. Janizek.
I would also like to welcome Todd and Joe to the board. Another thing, tax bills were mailed out today. They should be hitting mailboxes within the next few days. If you have not received your tax bill within about a week and a half, 2 weeks, give my office a call. It could be lost in the mail, or it could be coded for a lender, whether you have one or not. Give us a call and we will definitely get it out to you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Hirschberger.
Also like to welcome Todd and Joe to the board. Was a good first meeting, I think. I like the spreadsheet, Rick. I'm excited you're gonna do the whole applications. I think it was a really good way to see who's applied. It's very difficult when you have some applicants that have applied for 6 or 7 boards to get those all straight. So the spreadsheet is great. One last thing, just want to remind board members that your articles for the newsletter are due on Monday. And that's all.
Okay. Well, also, I'd like to welcome Todd and Joe. The last 4 years have been nothing short of great. I personally feel like we've earned the trust of the community. I feel like we've gotten a lot of stuff done. And some things we have gotten done is snow plowing and improving our roads. Because let me tell you, these roads over the past 30 years have been the worst in Bedford. That's all I heard is how terrible our roads are. Well, guess what? Did you see the road commission coming and fixing them? It's a funding issue. So this board stepped up to partner with the road commission instead of continuing to bash them on camera and tell them what they're not doing. We partnered with them to be able to get the roads done and to be able to get the snow plowing done. They don't have the funding to do it. I've talked to them even after they ended the MDOT contract. They're not going to be able to get our 127 of our neighborhood roads done on day one. If you do not get our roads done on day one in the first 8 hours and you get enough snow and it's cold, you have a sheet of ice for sometimes a month. And then school buses can't safely get down them. Schools canceled, and the list goes on and on. So what we're able to do is by clearing it on day one, it really is a huge asset to the community. So I think we've been able to create something that the community loves. I mean, the community talks about it all the time. I've never seen a plow down my road on day one. So I feel like it's something we need to continue. I will be meeting with the new director of the road commission that was just appointed to talk about some of the things that we are doing in partnership. I think it's great, some of the things that we're doing. And as far as the tree removals and stuff like that, this is all being brought to the beautification committee. They're the ones that when beautification committee ended, we tried to replace people. That was a group of people that were on a board together for 25 plus years that loved doing what they did. And they all kind of came on together and they all kind of went together. So we had a group of people that was interested in green initiatives to make our community greener. And so they're doing some great work. And so I would love to continue working with them and see them how we can, because this township board owns a lot of properties and neighborhoods. We own a lot of parks outside of the 4 or 5 big ones that we own. We have many pocket parks, and we own a lot of different parcels and drain districts. So we have a lot of properties that we have to maintain. So it's good to look at our properties and see how we can make them greener. So like I've talked to Ms. Hirschberger with cemeteries, how we can make that more efficiently done instead of spending 16 to 24 hours cutting one cemetery with 3 guys. It costs a lot of money. So we've got to constantly be thinking outside the box. That's why we did LED lights. We need to, be frugal with our tax dollars. I'd like to say that we did receive the grant from the Monroe County Museum of $6,000. I'll be working with Nancy Kudja as well as Al Pryor. We'll be submitting for another grant to the Daughters of American Revolution for another $10,000. Nancy and Al are working with the Historical Society to develop a fundraising strategy to cover the remaining costs. If anybody has any ideas, we're talking about putting a committee together. I'll be bringing it to this board to kind of take the grants that we've gotten and really look at that building and the cost to really get it up to snuff. It is one of our buildings that we own at Stearns and Crab, the historical building. It's the old school. The township owns that, so we have to put a plan together to maintain it. We've got some things that we need to do. One of them is the big item is the roof and the windows. So we'll be looking at a fundraising plan or a way to really get that building back where it needs to be. I do want to thank everybody over the past year for their time on these boards. Everybody that volunteers their time to come to some of these meetings and get beat up. It's sometimes a thankless job. So I appreciate it. Planning Commission is a very tough board to be on. At times you make very real decisions for people, and so is BZA. Joe, you'll have your work cut out for you. It's a tough board, but I feel like you'll be very good on it. I also would like to take the time, for the people that have been affected by COVID. There's many people that need help. We have many food organizations and fine organizations that are accepting food, toys, and coats. Some of them are Odd Fellows, Good Fellows, the Lion's Den, Little Blessings, Bedford Township Veterans, all local churches. A lot of them have food pantries. The Bedford Business Association has a food drive coming up. The Monroe Humane Society, they need pet food, and the Monroe County Animal Control, they need pet food as well. If there is a senior in need, if you live in a neighborhood or live somewhere where you know a senior's having a hard time, or you see a neighbor that is elderly and they can't get their drive shoveled, call our ordinance department. We have a program that we put together called Save Our Seniors. I know snow's starting to fall, and we have a group of volunteers that actually will go and take care of some of these needs for our seniors. Other than that, like I said, it's if any board members have any questions about an agenda item or anything, please give us a call. A lot of boards, like the school board and the county commissioners, they have a board meeting before the meeting. We don't. So a lot of our meetings are raw. What you're seeing here tonight, people that are watching on TV and Facebook, it's what it is. We don't have a meeting before the meeting. So any prep work we can do in advance, if you see something or if there's a problem. That was one thing I appreciated about our last board. We'd always call and give a heads up so we can have an answer. And then at the meeting, you can say, hey, I called Trudy about a budgetary item, and this is what we talked about, and, I got my answer. So it makes for a smoother meeting. I don't feel like anybody on this board is going to be the type of person that's going to be I got you moments, but it does happen. So the less we have of that, the better. So I look forward to working with everybody. And Mr. Steiner, do you have a question?
Yes, I just had one last comment, and I can't believe I glossed over it and missed my first point when I talked about, COVID. We have individuals in need out there, and we can be as generous as possible to those people in need. But one of the things I want to recognize also is our businesses. Many of our businesses are struggling, especially the restaurant and entertainment type business. There's a Facebook page out there that has all the local business listed, and some of them are spotlighted on given days. Just whatever you can on these restaurants and entertainment venues, go out, try to get takeout if it's food, buy gift cards, whatever you can do. We don't want to lose any of these businesses. Every one of them is important, no matter how big or how small they are. So whatever we can do as our board members and set a good example right down to the public, helping these businesses so we don't see them go away, because not only does it affect the business, it affects the owner, affects what he or she can do, and then all the employees that they support. So I appreciate anybody's help that can join me and the rest of this board. And I'm sure I'm going to call out to the board to do the same thing to help me support those businesses.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, Rick. You're spot on. We need to support the businesses. I also want to give a shout out to the Lion's Den. They have distributed in partnership with the Erie restaurant over 3,200 meals in the past couple months. So kudos to them. I mean, they're really stepping up, and I know the community appreciates it. And I think you guys are doing a heck of a job. So good job. Other than that, if nobody else has any comments or any questions, we stand adjourned.